So for this exercise, we've been asked to design a times table generator. So in the first column, what we're going to do is we're going to write the numbers from 1 to 12 going down. And we know from before that if we'd like to fill something up with a sequence of numbers, we can grab the bottom right-hand corner of a cell and we can drag down. But on this occasion, this hasn't really worked. I've just got a whole lot of number ones, and I'd like the numbers 1 to 12. So I'll hold down the Control key on my keyboard. When I'm on the bottom right-hand corner of that cell, I hold down Control, and you can see that the little cross changes a little bit, gets a second, even smaller cross above it. And now when I drag down, holding my key, it will fill those cells with the numbers 1 to 12. In this column then, I'm going to go and put the number that I would like to multiply to create my times tables. So in this case, I'm just going to put the number 1 in there for now. Over here, I'm going to put the letter X. And that's just to make it look a bit pretty. I'm going to center align that again just to make it look a bit nice. In this column, I'd like to have an equal sign. And my spreadsheet for some other reason is allowing me to do it, but usually it won't allow you just to type an equal sign into a cell, because as soon as you type an equal sign, it thinks you're about to do a function. So usually what you have to do is to type a single quotation mark and then the equal sign like that. And then again, you can copy that all the way down just to make it look a bit better. In column E, I'm going to do my multiplication. So I'm going to say it equals contents of A3 multiplied by contents of C3. And I'm going to copy that formula down. So the first one says A3 times C3. Next one says A4 times C4. And you can see as we go down, that formula will change slightly. And the reason for that is that our spreadsheet sees what we're trying to do and fills in for us what needs to be over there. Now, if we wanted to work out the 2 times table, we could fill up this column with 2's, and we have the 2 times table. If we wanted to work out the 3 times table, we could fill this column up with 3's and work out the 3 times table. But what if we wanted to be able to work out whatever times table the user wanted, and we could just enter that number into one cell. So I'm going to make that cell C3. So I'm going to put a label in here, times table, and in C3, I want to be able to type a number in there and have that number replicated into all the cells below. So the way that I would copy the contents of cell C1 into cell C3 is simply by going equals and then C1. Okay, so that's great. So now you can see if I type the number 2 into there, then C3 gets the number 2. If I type the number 5 into there, C3 gets the number 5, and my times table generator gives me the right result every time. So I've got the right formula in there. Let me grab that and drag it down. Oh dear, something's gone a bit wrong. And the thing that has gone wrong is this one is correct. It says it wants to be the same as what is in C1. But this one is incorrect because it has now gone and given me the contents of C2. And I don't want that one to be C2. It must still be C1. This one is now looking for C3, which happens to be the same number as C1, but it's still not correct. It should be also C1. This one should also be C1. So unlike in our formula where we wanted it to change every time as we move down, That was a relative reference, where it changes every time when we copy it down. Unlike that one, this one over here, we want this to be an absolute reference. So we want this one to remain saying C1, 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 C1 all the way down, so that whatever number is typed in C1 will be generated all the way down this column. And this is called an absolute reference. Okay, so how do we make an absolute reference? We've got C1 in the first cell. We click on C1 in the formula bar at the top, and we use the F4 key. And the F4 key puts a $ before the C and a $ before the 1. And that will then ensure that neither the C nor the 1 change if I copy this formula somewhere. So if I drag down now and I copy my formula, every one of these cells will say $C, $1. The C and the 1 do not change at all. This is an absolute reference. So now I can put in there 6 and I get the 6 times table. I can put 9 and I get the 9 times table. I put in 10, I get the 10 times table. By using an absolute reference, I can copy something and not have it change from row to row or column to column. By using a relative reference, I will allow the numbers and all the letters to change, depending on whether I'm copying down or across.